thought for a change I wouldn't actually have any triggers laid out for this video. And this was brought on because of a post on the ASMR subreddit, which I have just read, that was talking about how a lot of people missed when ASMR artists weren't trying so intentionally to trigger people, trigger ASMR. They missed a time when ASMR artists didn't really know what worked and what didn't work, so they would just do things. And they would do things softly and they would do things quietly. And then through that, you would get tingles. You would stumble upon things that worked. So I did have, I got my brush on the table and I've got a few other things around me. But then I was just on Reddit out of habit. I mean, I opened my computer to record, but then as soon as my computer was turned on, I thought, let's check Reddit. And having just seen that thread, I've decided to put those things away. So it's just you and me and a microphone. And quite possibly the best lighting I've ever had in a video. Because for once I'm actually recording at a sensible time. Well, look, if I do this, I just disappear in like a haze of white. But yeah, some of you might have seen I put a video out yesterday on titled Music for ASMR, and I spent like, I had the idea for that video probably at about 11 PM 2 nights ago, just before I was going to bed. It was too late to get started then, although I did consider it. And then I woke up ready to get straight to my microphone, but it turns out yesterday morning was the day when every single room in this wing of where I'm living was being vacuumed. So for the entire morning, I was planning things. I didn't just spend the whole morning sat at my desk waiting for vacuuming to stop, but I was waiting until I could get started recording. And then by the time this space had become quiet again, and I had recorded enough layering to do the actual video part, the sun was already setting. The street lamps outside, street lamps? I'm not American. The street lights outside were already turned on, and I can see, if you watch the video from start to finish, the lighting changes. It's just in those 5 minutes. But now, cloud came. But now it's 1:38. A very reasonable time to record. I hope that the music for ASMR video worked for some of you. The name is a little nod to Brian Eno's first ambient album, Ambient 1, Music for Airports. Because I've been listening to that album on almost a week ago. I had it on as background noise for a board game that was set in a enchanted forest. It doesn't really have a foresty feel to it. I think if I were to go for a forest album or ambient album, I'd probably pick maybe the second half of Heroes, David Bowie's album. That's kind of foresty. But anyway, I was listening to Music for Airports and realised there's a lot of good texture in it, so why don't I try making an ambient song that was more texture and less music. And I actually did some research into how Brian Eno approaches his ambient music. And one interesting thing that he doesn't always stick to, but at the time when he made Music for Airports, he wanted to make an album that didn't invoke any specific feeling and didn't have any specific intent to really convey anything. I think that's how he saw ambient music at the beginning. So if you listen to Music for Airports, depending on how you feel, that will be reflected in the music, because the music itself isn't trying to force any feeling upon you. Upon you is quite a fancy way of saying that. Isn't trying to force feeling onto you. And I thought that could work for ASMR because, well, you can just take away the music and you don't lose any feeling, because there was no feeling meant to be there in the first place. So I tried making 5 minutes that were about textured trigger sounds rather than melody or harmony. And I tried to make it so that those trigger sounds were actually set to a tempo. If you pay attention, especially once the basses come in, you'll notice that most of the triggers stop pretty much exactly when a bass note is hit or a piano note is hit, because they are in fact to a tempo, to 60 beats per minute, which I chose that because I think that's half-hour heartbeat. I think a heartbeat's 120 beats per minute. It's probably not very scientific, but I wanted to pick something slow, so I thought go for something roughly related to us. Yeah, it's a first attempt. I'm definitely going to try and do more of that and see how it works out. I think now that I know that it kind of works, I'm going to try and make something a little bit more musical and something a lot longer. I'll go for like a 15 to 20 minute sort of length with a few more actual instrument sounds in there. And maybe I'll vary when triggers come in and out rather than just having everything at the same time. 1 second. occasionally drink quietly. If you're wondering where I've been for over a month, the answer is I went back to university. I know I ended the last rambling video I did. I think I ended that saying that I would have loads of time to do loads of videos, which didn't happen. Things crept up on me very quickly, and then going back to university, just you need a bit of time to settle and find your feet again each year. Especially this year, I'm doing a master's, so in a way this is like starting afresh. I'm at the same university, but most of the people that I knew are gone, and I'm now living in a student halls rather than a shared house, which you can see behind me. You can see I've got, framing. Let's get framing right. I've got some records on display. I've actually got quite possibly the biggest room in these student halls because I am a returning older student now. I got priority choosing, and it is massive. I would walk around, but somehow, even though I've got a room that's bigger than my living room, I have trapped myself in a little space between. I've got a desk on my left, I've got an amp and a mic stand on my right, I've got a keyboard behind me, and then there's a wall in front of me, so I can't move. But it's a good space. And maybe if I sort out lighting and get a proper stand for a camera, I can record around the room. This is my 4th time attempting this video in a way, because about maybe 2 weeks ago I actually tried to record, and I recorded an entire video explaining where I'd been and that I'm now at university again, and I had actually forgotten to press record on the computer. I'd only recorded on my phone. Let me check I've actually done that again. Yeah, it's recording. So I recorded the whole video, was very disappointed. Then I tried again, and I ran out of space. And then I tried again, and I just got this little box come up saying, "Error, unknown error." And that was the last straw. I stopped. I stopped for 2 weeks, never came back to it, but now I have. I think finally having an idea for something that wasn't simply rambling at a microphone has motivated me to come back to this. And I know I don't exactly have many people that watch these videos, but that's okay. I still feel relatively motivated to try and keep making things, and then hopefully people will come. No, it's not the end of the world if they don't. I've been listening back to that the music for ASMR video more times than I'm willing to admit over the last 24 hours. So at least I can make them for myself. actually, I have checked the SoundCloud. For those of you that only seen the videos, I upload the audio to SoundCloud, and then from there I link that to iTunes, TuneCore. Is it TuneCore? No, TuneIn. And Pocket Cast, I think, are the three. So, or four including SoundCloud. And on SoundCloud I've got roughly 200 plays combined on the last two videos I've done. So there are people listening. That's nice to know. That was a nice surprise. I think those 200 actually include iTunes and TuneIn in those numbers. I think that's how it works. Sounds like someone's coming home. Or leaving. I'm very lucky with how quiet it is at the moment. Most of the time, it's really, really loud. Even though I'm tucked away in the corner, there's maybe 250 students living in this little area, which isn't the whole university. There's more than one housing areas, but in this area, I think it's 250. My hair has also grown since I was last recording one of these rambling videos. I don't know whether to keep it out the way for a camera, or if I can just have it all in front of me like that. Probably not a good idea. I think it falls that way most of the time when I'm just going about my day. I don't know what I'm doing with it. Let's see. Anything else? I just sort of assumed that if I turned the camera on, I'd have stuff to talk about. And I think it's almost been 20 minutes, so that's a fair amount to talk about. That's one of my favorite sounds. An intake of breath is one of my favorite trigger sounds. I don't know why. And even just hearing it back in my ears at the moment is relaxing me. I could just permanently have myself hooked up to my recording setup, and every breath I take could just relax me further and further. Maybe I will. That'd be nice. I need to get a microphone stand that's better than this one, because if I have the mic lower than I don't know what you'd call it, the tilting point. Basically, if I try to point the mic downwards, it slips. It doesn't hold its position. So I need to fix that. My phone has just come up with a little symbol saying it detects an infant. I'm hoping it doesn't mean me. Oh, another one. It's saying it detects an infant, and there's a little box around my face. I won't take that personally. said I wouldn't have any triggers in this, but there's one thing I want to mention. There was a casualty from the last attempt at this rambling video. I have a sponge, just an ordinary sponge, that I was crushing in and out of my hand for the whole video, to the point where it doesn't actually make it sound anymore. And it was a really nice sound. I need to get more of these. But yeah, after 3 attempts at recording one video and crushing this thing, it just doesn't work anymore. I don't know what this sounds like. Nothing. There's no sound for that. That's interesting. How about this? Yeah. I'll get new ones. Oh, one other thing I have found. And this is actually quite a loud sound, so I'll be careful. I have here. Is that focused? Mexican hot chocolate. And the wrapper is really crinkly. I've had this for a really long time. It's delicious, it's amazing, but I just never think to make it. So if you listen in that music ASMR video, for a lot of the time I was just doing this in the background, which might have gotten in the way of the rhythm, because I can't exactly control the rhythm of this. But I think it still sounded good. So maybe if I do a trigger video, not a rambling video, an actual trigger video, I might use that. I'd have to find some more triggers that I think are good enough to be heard on their own. I'm sure I could find a few. Let me try this. Okay, a little bag here. A Huel bag. I probably shouldn't be attempting this right now in case it doesn't work. I could try things like that. Crinkling. I enjoy crinkling, but I think after a little bit of time, because it's so harsh, the effect wears off. For me at least, personally. Anyway, I think that's probably enough from me. Thank you very much for listening, and I will see you next time.